Hey guys, it's Brijette with San Diego Seed Company. Today I want to talk to you about row cover. You have all heard the term, it's all over the internet. If you're searching anything about how to be better in your garden or on your farm, it probably mentions row cover. So what is it and why is it so great? We're gonna get into that today, but first make sure you hit the subscribe button and the notification button so that you're notified anytime Kellogg Garden Soil puts out a great video that's gonna help you grow. Row cover is a generic term that refers to any type of fabric or material that goes over a row of crops, okay? There's different types of row cover depending on your need. Here on our farm, we primarily use two different types of row cover. This is a spun polyester. The brand is actually called Agribon, but basically it's just a very light fabric that we use for several different reasons. It's really a game changer. So it goes over the crops and it actually simply keeps pests off the crop. So if you have your crops covered, well then a moth cannot come by and lay its eggs that turn into larvae, which turn into leaf-eating caterpillars and then destroy all of your brassicas. So it's a very simple and organic way that you can keep pests off your crops. The other reason why people use fabric row cover like this is actually to keep the crops warmer. If you're in a really cold region, there's different grades of row cover that you can use, but farmers will put them over their crops because it actually protects them from frost and will change the temperature underneath this cloth by a couple degrees. Now you might be thinking, oh, a couple of degrees, what a big deal. It actually makes a huge difference when it is a couple of degrees between freezing and not freezing. So this fabric can be used to keep insects off of your crops. It also can be used to keep your crops warmer. Here in Southern California, we use the lightest grade of this row cover actually to keep our crops a little bit cooler because it's a light white fabric. It actually reflects a little bit of the sunlight and protects our crops during the hottest time of the year. So it's just a really great product. As I mentioned, there's different weights of this fabric. This is the lightest because we don't get that cold. I don't need that much frost protection. But if you're in zone 7, 6, 5 and on, you're gonna need a heavier fabric to protect your crops from the cold weather. So this is fabric woven row cover. The brand is Agribon, and we use it on our farm to protect our plants from insects, keep them warmer, also keep them cooler during the summertime, and also to keep the humidity in around the plants by keeping them covered. So this is one type of row cover. And the other row cover that we use quite a bit is called shade cloth. We use shade cloth because we live in a very hot, dry area. During certain times of the year, I need to keep the soil a little bit cooler and I need to block out a little bit of the UV light to keep my plants happy. So how do I do that? Shade cloth. This is 40% shade cloth, which means it blocks out 40% of the UV light. If you're growing vegetables, you really don't want to use a shade cloth that's more than about 50% because you'll block out too much UV light and your plants will actually be stunted. So that's a pro tip for you. This is 40%. We use this in the fall, in August, September, and October when it's really hot here in Southern California. And it helps our plants get through that really hard, dry, hot season. It also helps us with Santa Ana conditions, which is when we get really hot, dry wind from the east. So if you're in a different region than zone 9 and 10, why would you need to use shade cloth? Well, if you get very hot temperatures and you have delicate crops, shade cloth can make all the difference. Another good example why you would want to use shade cloth and why professional growers use it is crops like bell peppers and tomatoes that get sun scald from getting too much sun from hitting their delicate skin. You can actually use shade cloth to protect them. And the fruits of tomatoes and bell peppers will actually look a lot better. They'll be beautiful because they're protected and they're not getting essentially sunburned. Again, this is shade cloth. This is a product that we use a lot on our farm. And this is a lightweight woven fabric that we use to cover our crops as well. Both of these row covers can be game changers for you if you're a serious grower. Now, how do you store these? Well, the lighter the fabric, the easier it is to tear. So at the end of every season when we're not using this, this gets rolled up neatly and stored away out of the sun. The same with our shade cloth. This shade cloth is UV resistant, so it won't break down that long, but anything that sits in the sun too long will get destroyed. So we recommend that at the end of the season, when you're not using it, roll it up nicely and neatly and store it away. Okay guys, so that's the basis of row covers. Why do you use it? How it can be beneficial. And now remember, hit that subscribe button, hit the notification button, so anytime Kellogg Garden Soil does a video, you can be notified and they can help you be the best gardener ever.